Hey there, Geometry Cats. We're looking at 2.6, proving angles congruent. This actually might be one of the last videos I make this year. Yay! Because the other videos are already made. You still have to watch videos. Sorry, not sorry. Okay. Proving angles congruent. Okay. A lot of this should be review and things we've done before, but we're going to do it in the proof context. Alright? Theorem 2.1, vertical angle theorem. Vertical angles are congruent. If angle A and B are vertical angles, and the measure of angle A is 15 degrees, then the measure of angle B is 15 degrees. For this one, so what's the value of x? We already know this. They make a nice bow tie, right? You want your bow tie to be equal on both sides. And so if they're equal on both sides, I set them equal to each other. Right? Subtract 2x. Subtract 2x. X equals 40. Alright? This should all be reviewed so far. Right? Anything new? Alright, onward and upward. Alright, let's use this in an actual proof. Given angle 1 is congruent to angle 2, so they're the same measure. Prove 1 is congruent to 2, is congruent to 3, is congruent to 4. Alright, let's do this thing. First statement. Angle 1 is congruent to angle 2. Well, we always start with our given. Don't lose those points, guys. Those are the easy points. Next one. Angle 1 is congruent to angle 3. So I go look at my picture. Here's angle 1. Here's angle 3. What type of angles are those that would show congruence? They're vertical, so you'd say vertical angles. Vertical angle theorem or vertical angles are congruent. And you can abbreviate like this with the symbols. I don't need you to write out the words every time. Alright. Now we have angle 3 is congruent to, or angle 2 is congruent to angle 4. So I go over here. Here's angle 4, angle 2. What kind of angles does that form? Well, they're looking across from each other. That's the same as before. Vertical angles are congruent. Now, if 1 equals 3, and 2 equals 4, and 1 equals 2, how can you put those together? Remember, if A equals B and B equals C, then A equals C. That's the transitive property. Property of congruence. Woohoo! Alright, that wasn't too bad. Hey, look, it's the congruent supplement theorem. What this says is if two angles are supplementary to the same angle, then they are congruent. For example, on this one, if 1 and 3 are supplementary, and 2 and 3 are supplementary, then 1 is congruent to 2, which makes sense. Because if angle 3 is like 120 degrees, then angle 1 has to be 60, and angle 2 has to be 60. Alright? Okay. Write a paragraph proof with the vertical angles theorem. Ay, caramba. And we're proving that vertical angles are congruent. Let's do this thing. So given 1 and 3 are vertical angles, prove that they are congruent. And we can't use vertical angle theorem. Oh man. Watch this. Alright. But let's look at this. What do you know about angle 1 and 2? They form a linear pair, so they're supplementary. So let's start with that. Angle 1 and angle 2 are supplementary. Because they form that line, right? What else is supplementary to angle 2? 3 and 2 are supplementary. Angle 3 and angle 2 are supplementary as well. Well, what did that last rule just say? So that means by the congruent supplement theorem, angle 1 is congruent to angle 3. Based on that last theorem we did. Because if they're supplementary to the same angle, that means they have to be congruent. Boom! Proved. Proven. 3D. Same thing is true for complements. If two angles are complementary to the same angle, then they are congruent. Like if angle 2 is 40 degrees, we'll do 50. Then angle 1 has to be 40, and angle 3 has to be 40. Okay? NARAS theorem here is all right angles are congruent. That's just ridiculous. Of course they're congruent. They're all right. They're all 90 degrees. That's silly. Pause this and write this down if you need to. Alright, we're almost done. So that means if two angles are supplementary and congruent to each other, then they have to be a right angle, which makes sense. Two angles add up to equal 180, and they're equal. 2x equals 180. Divided by 2, each one is 90. You'll prove this in exercise 23. Maybe. Last page. This is it. This is the end of my film career, maybe. Find the measure of angle 1, 2, and 3. Alright, let's start with 1. I look at angle 1. Do I have any relationships with any of the other angles? Well, of course I do. They're vertical angles with this one. Makes that bow tie. What do you know about vertical angles? They're congruent. So the measure of angle 1 is equal to whatever this is, which is 90 because it's marked. Now let's look at angle 2. Wait, angle 2? What am I doing? Also has a vertical angle to it. Alright, this one's actually really easy the more I look at it. So angle 2 is 50 degrees. And lastly, angle 3 has a vertical angle too. It's over here. That's a pretty thing now. So measure of angle 3 is 40 degrees. That's it, guys. We are going to have to do proofs. You're going to have to take your time on this stuff. You're going to have to deal with it. Enjoy.